week 18 of the fantasy baseball season, and he has a few hitters falling this week. The first guy is Nolan Arenado of the St. Louis Cardinals. So Arenado, it's been a mixed bag of results in his first season here with the St. Louis Cardinals. He's had ups and downs, and on the season, 22 home runs, 69 RBIs, 54 runs scored, a 261 average, and a 320 on base. So right here, the home run numbers are still great for Arenado. Obviously, the RBIs, he's not going to reach the 130, 140 mark like he has a few times in his career playing for the Rockies in Coors Field. And obviously, the average is down as well for him. In the last couple weeks for Arenado, 2 homers, 8 RBIs, 5 runs scored, a 261 average, and a 333 on base. So Arenado this season, he was a 3rd or 4th round draft pick in most fantasy leagues coming into the year. And right now, he's just been struggling over the last couple weeks, and he hasn't done much for fantasy owners in that time as well. August 5th versus Atlanta, 1-for-4 with an RBI. August 6th versus Kansas City, 0-for-4. August 7th versus the Royals, 1-for-3 with a run, a homer, and an RBI. August 8th versus Kansas City, 2-for-5 with an RBI. August 10th at Pittsburgh, 0-for-3 with a run. And August 11th at Pittsburgh, 1-for-4 with a run. And August 12th at Pittsburgh, 1-for-4 with an RBI. So right now, Arenado, he's not really doing much. Like I mentioned, only 1 home run as well since August 4th. So right now, a little bit of a slump here for this Cardinal team. But as a total, his numbers still pretty decent on the year. But right now, this week, he's definitely fallen. The next hitter's fallen, Justin Turner of the Los Angeles Dodgers. So Justin Turner, up there in age, obviously, 36 years old. But hey, he's still got a 4-year contract in the offseason here from the Dodgers. And he got off to an amazing start early in the year. And him as well, his stats are on the up and up on the year. 20 home runs, 66 RBI, 62 runs scored, 289 average at 376 on base. So right now, his numbers are great in total on the season. But now the last couple weeks, 2 homers, 7 RBIs, 4 runs scored at 226 average and a 273 on base. But Turner coming into the year, I didn't think he would be this good for fantasy baseball. And he definitely has been. But now over the last week or 2, he's definitely fallen down the rankings. And he's also banged up with a groin injury as well. So the last few games for Turner, until he went down with the groin injury, July 31st at Arizona, 2-for-5, a homer, 2 RBIs. August 1st at Arizona, 2-for-5, a homer, 4 RBIs, 2 runs scored. August 3rd versus Houston, 1-for-4. August 4th versus Houston, 0-for-4. August 6th versus the Angels, 1-for-4 with a run. August 7th versus the Angels, 0-for-4. August 8th versus the Angels, 0-for-1 with an RBI. Stolen base, so we haven't seen him since then. And we'll see if he's going to play versus his former team this weekend at the New York Mets. But right now, Justin Turner's falling. He's banged up with the injury. And hopefully he could come back sooner than later with the groin injury. But this was one concern I definitely had with him coming into the season with his age and some injury problems. The next hit is his teammate, Trey Turner of the Los Angeles Dodgers. So Turner, 2 weeks ago, he got traded to the Dodgers in a blockbuster deal with Max Scherzer, and what a pickup it was for the Dodgers, no doubt about it. And Trey Turner, obviously one of the best players in fantasy baseball in the season. 18 home runs, 50 RBIs, 22 stolen bases, 71 runs scored, a 317 average, and a 365 on base. But the last couple weeks for him, since he returned from the COVID list, obviously he's not 100%. His energy probably isn't all there. No homers, 1 RBI, a stolen base, 5 runs scored, 227 average, and a 292 on base percentage. So that's unlike Trey Turner. He's been in the high 3s to mid 3s this season for the most part. And on the season, he still had a great average point at 317. But the 6 games since he returned, August 6th versus the Angels, 0-for-1. August 7th versus the Angels, 1-for-3 with a run and a stolen base. August 8th versus the Angels, 1-for-4 with 2 runs. August 10th at Philly, 2-for-5 with a run. August 11th at Philly, 1-for-5 with a run. And August 12th versus Philly, 0-for-4 with an RBI. So he's got a matchup at the Mets. And he's been the Met killer throughout his career here, is Trey Turner. Just wearing the Mets out, hitting for cycles, hitting 4 or 5 hit games. So right here, I expect him to have a big weekend versus the New York Mets. And right now, he is falling. But I think when it's all said and done, he's going to be back on the rise and doing well for this Dodger team. The next hitter falling this week's Carlos Correa of the Houston Astros. So Carlos Correa, it's been a tale of two tapes for the most part this season for him. Some great months and some horrible months. And right now he's in a slump once again as Correa. On the season, 18 home runs, 61 RBIs, 74 runs scored, a 271 average, and a 364 on base in the last couple weeks for Correa. 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, 6 runs scored, a 237 average, and a 326 on base. And right here, his batting average has gone down. And he hasn't been hitting for much power as well as Correa. 2 home runs in the last month as well. So right here, he's definitely struggling and he's definitely falling. The last few games for him, August 3rd at the Dodgers, 0 for 3 with a run. August 4th at the Dodgers, 2 for 4, a homer and RBI. August 6th versus Minnesota, 1 for 5. August 7th versus Minnesota, 0 for 3 with a run. August 8th versus Minnesota, 1 for 4 with a homer and RBI. August 10th versus the Rockies, 1 for 3 with a run. And August 11th versus the Rockies, 2 for 5 with a run and an RBI. So right now, he's just totally struggling here, Correa. But it was good to see him August 11th go 2 for 5 in that game. And now they open a 3-game set at the Los Angeles Angels and then go to Kansas City here is the Astros. So right here, these are 2 weak pitching teams. And maybe Correa could get back on the right track here and get things going because he's definitely falling. And it's also a contract season for him. So if he could finish up the year with a good month and a half to 2 months here, maybe he could get that big deal he wants because obviously they offered him a contract extension early in the year was Houston, but obviously he didn't take it. So he's got to get things going and he's got to hit better here. But he's falling this week, and the 5th and final hitter falling is Christian Yelich of the Milwaukee Brewers. So the Brewers, despite the horrible season and injury-plagued season Yelich had, they were in first place here in the NL Central on the season. 6 home runs, 30 RBIs, 49 runs scored, 7 stolen bases, 229 average, and a 372 on-base percentage for Yelich. But the last couple weeks here, he's been non-existent for fantasy owners. No home runs, 2 RBIs, 5 runs scored, a 158 average, and a 238 on base. And right there, those are piss-poor numbers, no doubt about it. And those injuries have definitely caught up to him, and he's been a major bust this season in fantasy baseball. He was taken at the late first round, early second round in your drafts this year. And he just got to get things going some way, somehow. He's too good of a hitter not to, but this season's been a lost season and an injury-plagued season for him, and he's definitely fallen. So the last few games since he returned, August 7th versus the Giants, 0 for 1. August 8th versus the Giants, 0 for 3 with a run. August 10th in a doubleheader at the Cubs, 0 for 5 with an RBI. August 11th at the Cubs, 1 for 4 with an RBI and 2 runs scored. And August 12th at the Cubs, 2 for 6 with 2 runs scored. So maybe that multiple hit game could get him on the right track. But he's been off track all season. So that's a few hitters falling here in Week 18 of the fantasy baseball season.